Welcome back to Lost in the Frame. I'm your host, Malik.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Tachi.
And today, we're going to have a conversation on the Thunderbolts. But first, how you guys doing today?
Sleepy. But I'm ready.
Good.
I'm excited for this one. I think this is going to be a very varied conversation.
Varied.
Yeah. I mean, because, we're going to kind of do what we did last week, but kind of the state of the MCU, I think, on top of the Thunderbolts. So I think there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Marvel specifically. I feel like it's just such a hot topic.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of similarities between this and Star Wars from a content perspective, but we'll get into all of it. But we'll open it up. Do you want to open it up with some movie news, or do we want to read our fan mail that we've received?
We do have our first bit of fan mail. So
yay!
I think I'll start it off with that. If anyone's listening, they want to write to us. Feel free to drop us a DM on Instagram if you have some feedback on the show. If you want to, just tell us we're doing great or something like that. Maybe
only positive.
Only
like,
positive.
Subscribe, follow, download.
Rip. Like ripping a CD?
We could do that. Burn. So this feedback comes from this piece of fan mail comes from Ashley in Austin, and she says that Alex needs to stop studying Star Wars and start studying some women.
Oh,
the real word is redacted. So I say to that, piss off.
I like it.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. I agree. Tachi, your Yoda sound from the last episode is getting a lot of laughs.
Is it?
It's doing numbers. It's charting, actually.
It's a point of shame for me.
Why is it shame? I thought it was so good.
I don't know. I guess I can't pride myself on my impressions. I was never really good at them to begin with, but I just really wanted to put on a great performance, and I flopped.
I think you delivered on all fronts, and I want you to practice.
Okay.
Not right now, but in the future we'll have another.
Maybe right now.
We'll have another Star Wars episode.
Maybe you can wait. You're right.
Yeah, and you'll get to redeem yourself.
We'll give him some cool down time.
Thank you.
Alex, you want to kick us off with some movie news?
Yeah. So last week we kind of skipped this segment because we wanted to go all in on Star Wars, but a lot's happened, and so we can't really skip it this week, even though it's not topic related. The first thing that I wanted to cover is the Smashing Machine trailer, the new Dwayne Johnson movie directed by Benny Safdie. Hot take.
Oh.
A, it's one of my most anticipated movies of the year.
Okay.
B,
okay.
Dwayne Johnson award buzz.
Wow.
I'm with you.
Maybe that's just a wish cast, but The Rock being nominated for an Oscar would be just peak. I don't think we as a society could really top that.
It would be monumental for him coming out of the last 10 years, I feel, of his filmography, and it being very questionable. And so it's exciting seeing him take on a role like this. And I think he's in great hands with Benny Safdie. It is also one of my most anticipated for the year. And I will officially put my stamp that I'm here for the awards trail buzz for The Rock.
I mean, are the Safdies the perfect director for like a kind of stuck in the motions actor to branch out? I mean, we had Adam Sandler with Uncut Gems, and that was a legendary performance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hopefully they go 2 for 2. You could also argue Robert Pattinson in Good Time hadn't quite broken into the Robert Pattinson we know today. So maybe 3 for 3 with The Rock.
We'll see.
Put it in stone.
I was just going to say, I really hope that he does turn in a great performance, because the more competition, the better
Mm-hmm.
for us and for everyone involved.
Yeah, I hope this is a good year because so far it's not shaping up to be one. So
I think 2025 is going to be very like backloaded. Is kind of what it is. Kind of the
I hope
vibe that I'm
so.
getting for the
I
year.
hope so.
There's
Because
a
the
lot
start's
laying in
been
store.
putrid.
Yeah. What are you guys some of your most anticipated for the rest of the year?
I'll let Tachi take this one while I pull up my letterbox list.
Sure. Off the dome, Superman.
Oh, I forgot about Superman.
Oh, Dune 3's next year, right?
I don't know.
Have they officially announced it?
I don't think there's been an official
Okay, well,
announcement.
doesn't matter. It's not this year. I'm having trouble now. It's not just Superman. I know there's at least 2 more that I'm really excited
Fantastic
for.
Four?
Yeah, Fantastic Four. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to 28 years.
Yep.
Get later.
28 years later.
I need to watch the first 2.
The Smash Machine. I've never seen the second one.
Heard
28
the second one's not
weeks.
that good.
Honestly, hot take, the first one wasn't that good either.
The first one's solid. The first one is solid, but
I did watch a rip cam of it off Twitter, so that might have.
well, I mean, that's like saying, Italian food's not great. I went to the Olive Garden.
Also, it wasn't my fault that I watched it off Twitter, because that movie for years was not available to stream, rent, or purchase. You had to find a physical copy of it, and boy, did I look. And
That's annoying.
Yeah, and I watched it on Twitter, and I swear to God, 2 weeks later, Sony announced that it's available to rent, like on video on demand. I was like, all right, cool.
They were waiting for you to get drastic.
Dude, straight up.
You went drastic, and then they decided to do the epic troll on you.
Yeah, and I was just like, all right, I gotta watch this. So screencast to the TV. Ugh.
Jurassic World.
Oh yeah, Jurassic World. New director, right? I don't know who's directing it, but new director, different than the one who did the last 2 or 3. Correct.
Yeah. And I really like Jonathan Bailey.
Yeah, this does pique my interest.
I think for me, the ones I'm most looking forward to, I got 4 right off the top of my head. F1 with Brad Pitt. I love racing. And it's the Top Gun crew who made it. So probably going to look pretty good.
I feel like we're all gonna really like that one. That feels like an Us movie.
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
F1.
Oh,
with
yeah,
Brad
yeah.
Pitt.
I do want that one.
One Battle After Another, the new Paul Thomas Anderson with Leo in it, based off the Thomas Pynchon novel.
Some of
really
it was
excited
filmed
for
in
that
El
one.
Paso. Shout out.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Nice little hometown action.
Yeah.
Phoenician Scheme with Wes Anderson.
Oh, duh.
I'm excited. And then the last one that I didn't realize was coming out this year until about a week ago was Darren Aronofsky's next movie, Caught Stealing. Hank Thompson, a burned out former baseball player, is unwittingly plunged into a wild fight for survival in the downtown criminal underworld of 90s New York City, starring Austin Butler and Zoe Kravitz.
That's right.
And I'm excited for that. I'm a Butler guy. We've talked about this before, but anything he's in, I'll watch it.
I like Aronofsky as well.
We've got it's not like a most anticipated, but Friendship comes out in 2 days.
Oh no,
Friendship.
that is the most anticipated for me, honestly.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, in a couple weeks, right?
2 days.
2 days.
Probably
I guess
tomorrow. Because
yeah, tomorrow.
I think it's limited release in 2 days. I think it's LA and New York, and then a week and a half later, 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's wide release.
Oh man.
And Mission Impossible at the end of the month.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Malik, I believe you have some news for us out of the Vatican City.
Out of the Vatican City, yes. So, if you're not aware,
Our
the
American
Pope died.
representative.
Pope died. So,
Rest in peace.
there is currently a conclave happening. They took it from the hit movie Conclave, starring Ray Fiennes, that came out last year. But the piece of news that I wanted to read was Cardinals are now watching Conclave to get guidance and tips on how to actually do the real conclave. Many Cardinals were appointed by Pope Francis and haven't been around long enough to know how the process all works.
I thought that was fake until I saw it came from Politico,
Politico.
which is like a real news source.
Yep.
It makes sense. My dad was actually
Interesting.
asking me earlier today how accurate do you think it is, and I'm like, boy, do I have the headline for you.
Hmm. It's been cool seeing a bunch of people are posting screenshots of what's actually happening
Hmm.
with screenshots of the movie. And there's an account on Twitter called Pope Crave, a little parody of the Pop Crave account, but Pope Crave, who prior was just a like Conclave fan account, but they got press access to document the actual conclave.
That's sick.
And so they're over there right now, like
That's actually
live
so
tweeting.
cool.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
It's a truly fascinating process, and it's actually really funny to watch pop culture kind of rally around it.
Yeah.
As someone, I grew up Catholic, and so I was, decently aware of the last one when Francis was elected Pope. But this one is like, I mean, this is like the Met Gala, but with
Yeah.
popes and
I mean,
cardinals.
to be fair, like I didn't know about what any of this was until the movie came out, so that did it a lot of justice.
Same. Yeah,
What else we got?
We got Gal Gadot. News from the Gal Gadot front. She is starring in what I think could be the worst movie ever created. This is from Pop Base. Gal Gadot has been cast in a World War II film titled Ruin. She will play a recently released camp prisoner who allies with a German soldier to take revenge on a squad of Nazis. And there is no worse pick for a recently released concentration camp prisoner to be portrayed by
Agreed.
Yeah.
than Gal Gadot.
Should we do a Gal Gadot episode?
Should is an interesting word.
It's like,
Can.
remember our feelings about active valor?
It's that. It's gonna be that times a billion.
Max Lord, give me the stone.
Kal-El, no.
I really liked her in like Fast Five, but I think those movies actually did a disservice to her career because they didn't give her enough screen time to actually like pretend to try.
Yeah, I think her agent hates her.
I don't know.
I think her.
She's
I
kind
think-
of rolling in the big bucks.
Her agent's putting in the work.
I think her agent's actually doing the opposite.
Get her in as much shit as we can.
Yes.
No, I mean like agents
To
who
our
hate
detriment.
people are like Jenna Ortega's agent.
I was literally
He
about to
hates
say,
her.
I think Jenna Ortega's agent hates her.
And Michael Fassbender's agent hates him. He's in some bad movies.
Yeah.
Mm.
And he should not be. I think he's a talented actor. And Jenna Ortega, I mean, there is a young actress who loves and appreciates cinema. I mean, and she's just in garbage.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been one movie that's like Jenna Ortega was announced for this, and I'm like, oh, I'm excited to see that.
It doesn't make sense. Like the way she talks about film and her appreciation of the art form, and then you see what she's in, and you're like, oh,
I think she should have had her Mikey Madison moment already, but she has not.
yeah. She should definitely be in that same conversation with like the newer generation, like your Timothys and your Austins. But
Mikey Hive, rise up.
Mikey Hives, get down.
Shut up.
What's the long walk?
Oh, yeah, I added that one like 3 seconds before we started filming. So a new Stephen King based movie. It's about a bunch of kids who go on a walk.
Based?
And if they they stop walking, they get killed. And then if they last long enough, they win money or something. The question I'd like to ask is, which era in Stephen King's cocaine use was this story written?
Peak era.
Like It era?
Maybe a year after it, because that's this idea. I hadn't heard of this until you had brought it up, but this is a drug filled idea. I can see him pacing around his house, and he's like, "What if I stopped and something and just killed me?" And and that's how this was born.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
It's an interesting premise.
Maybe not intrigued enough to see it in theaters, but I'll probably catch it on streaming. Although I don't know. Maybe I'll be bored one day.
There's a couple horror movies coming out that I'm interested in, and Tachi, I'm asking you now officially to watch these movies with us. The Bring Her Back from the Raka twins. Is that them?
Yep.
They were the directors of Talk to Me.
Oh, okay.
That one's gonna be really
Bring
good.
Her Back.
And then I'm drawing.
I couldn't
a blank.
tell if that was the whole title. Bring Her Back from the whatever twins.
No. Just Bring Her Back.
Okay.
Bring Her Back, directed by the Raka.
Okay.
Do you remember the Raka boys, Raka twins? They used to make those like YouTube videos. They've got the Ronald McDonald that would like beat up the kids.
Oh, yeah.
It's them. Okay. It's these like two Australian brothers. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And then I'm forgetting. Oh, I should have pulled it up. I'm forgetting the name of the other one. But the trailer just came out, Alex, and it's got a bunch of kids running around, like a bunch of kids. What's the name of that movie? I'm drawing a blank on the name.
While I'm drawing a blank on it, while I try to remember it, the third movie I wanted to add to this horror movie coming out is The Ritual with Al Pacino, a nice little exorcism movie.
Oh yeah.
But the movie you're talking about, Malik, is Weapons. Directed by Zach
Krieger.
Krieger.
That one looks freaky.
Yeah. Tachi, we watched Barbarian together, right?
Yes. I think I watched it twice though, either way.
You liked it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Okay, yeah, same director.
Okay.
Apparently, the rumor about this one is Jordan Peele wanted this script so bad that when they lost the bidding war, he fired his agent.
I totally forgot. I had this in my notes for last week, but we didn't review it. Thank you for bringing that up. Isn't that insane?
That's intense.
We need a movie about like bidding wars for scripts.
Uncut Gem style.
Yeah, because it kind of like firing your agent over losing a script is like kind of electric. That's like something you hear out of like sports Twitter on some like forum buried somewhere, like big drama in the front office. Like
that's why the Oscars are Super Bowl. I mean, you two like sports.
I would say the Super Bowl is my Super Bowl, but
I want to feel that strongly about something.
Yeah,
that's like really intense.
It's passion.
Yeah, you could become Italian like me, and then you feel strongly about everything.
You can do that? You can just become Italian?
Yeah, I mean, you're now both honorary Italians.
Yay.
Hooray. Thank you.
Now you gotta talk like this. How you doing? Hey, I'm Malik. I'm Tachi. What are you talking about? We're gonna talk about
Guys, it's not us. We're not the ones saying that. It's not us. We're not like that. I'm sorry.
We're talking about the Thunderbolts. How you doing?
All right. I got a couple snippets of Thunderbolts news before we get into the movie.
Yeah, let's do it.
John Walker was the main villain in original drafts of Thunderbolts, but the concept didn't work. Val convinced John that his super soldier serum was deteriorating and he needed updates. What she was actually doing was implanting a Hulk bomb, or I think she even called them a bomb. So I think we avoided a bomb with that script.
I mean, that's just a brave new world. But for anyone listening who hears the name John Walker and they didn't do their Marvel homework, John Walker was the original Captain America replacement before they gave it to the Falcon.
I thought you were just going to say original with this Steve Rogers erasure.
That was covered. That was covered in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I'm going to guess a lot of people did not watch.
It's a fair guess,
most likely.
Yeah. John Walker, Wyatt Russell's character in Thunderbolts, the fake Captain America.
And then I've got one more, but Alex, I think you had something else around Thunderbolts as well.
I did. So this was actually we can save this one for later.
Okay. I'll just say this last one and then we can get into the movie. Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, says Thunderbolts is the first and best example of Marvel's new focus on quality over quantity. By consolidating a bit and having Marvel focus much more on their films, we believe that will result in better quality.
And so we're going to find out if we agree with him tonight, so stay tuned.
Yep. And so I think that's a good segue to open up the conversation on maybe the state of Marvel right now and our initial thoughts and feelings coming out of Thunderbolts.
I think just to wrap that piece up, though, I think that's definitely a better strategy than what they were doing before, which is just shotgun blasting content at our faces through Disney Plus. So whether this works or not, I respect their effort to fix their problems.
I agree. Similar to our discussion last week with Star Wars, I feel the last few years from a Marvel standpoint we've just been thrown content.
Inundated.
Yeah. Have you guys seen all of the TV shows?
No, I kind of gave up after Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I didn't watch Echo, but I think I've watched everything else.
So what have we had? We've had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision,
Loki,
Loki,
seasons 1
Hawkeye.
and 2. Yeah, Hawkeye.
Oh, I watched Loki. I gave up after Loki.
Loki's good. I did
didn't
enjoy
like it.
Loki.
I didn't enjoy
I like
it
Loki
that
too.
much.
Moon Knight, which I think had potential.
It did have potential.
Miss Marvel,
Agatha.
Oh my god, yeah. Quite a few TV shows. So
Miss Marvel.
yeah, Miss Marvel. I
Do you
think
count What If?
Ish. I watched the first season.
She-Hulk.
Oh yeah,
She-Hulk
and Daredevil.
and Daredevil now.
Yeah.
Now that I guess Daredevil's part of this whole
It's canon.
Yeah, that it's canon now. They redid it. I do need to watch Daredevil, but I mean,
Same.
I would say 70% of those shows, like, I had no interest in watching.
Agreed.
Well, I mean, they kind of took a lot of like the C tier characters and gave them really just drawn out miniseries to be like, oh, get interested. And it's like, well, this isn't like,
Like,
this
why
doesn't
should
look
we?
that good. Like, I'm not gonna like this. I'm not just gonna watch it because you told me to. And I think where Marvel misstepped was they got so high on their own supply post Endgame that they're like, oh, people will watch whatever we put out
Yeah.
Yep.
because it's Marvel. And it turns out that's not true.
I also think coming out of COVID, I would say that I think the TV series were a good idea maybe for 2020, 2021. And I think it should have been 2-3 shows maximum. So like in the period of COVID when everything was locked down, we couldn't go to the theater. Like, I think getting some content out for people to watch at home, I think that could have been a home run if they stopped, but they didn't. And then it just got too much and like too inflated, and then it felt like homework. Like it did feel like they were trying to chase that high of Endgame with every release, whether that be a TV show or a movie, and then we kind of end up leaving the theater disappointed. But
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to kind of get into our thoughts on Thunderbolts. So Thunderbolts is the latest MCU release starring Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Lewis Pullman, David Harbour, Wyatt Russell. Anyone of note that I'm missing here?
Ghost. Hannah John Kamen.
Hannah John Kamen. I'm sorry, Ghost. I did not mean that. But the synopsis reads: after finding themselves ensnared in a death trap, 7 disillusioned castoffs must embark on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their pasts. And so I want to hear from both of you guys. What were your general feelings when this movie first got announced? Do you remember kind of what your thought process was first seeing this movie that we were going to get whenever Disney does their whole slate of movies coming out for the next 50 years?
Oh God, not another B-team movie. I'm sorry. I mean, bunch of like throwaway character villains and then half the cast of Black Widow, which I hadn't watched. I was not interested at all.
That's fair. Yeah, when it was announced, I mean, I don't know. Any Marvel announcement is going to pique my interest just because I'm a pretty big fanboy and I'm probably a little too forgiving of their transgressions. But I can't say that it was my most anticipated announcement.
Wow. Yeah, and I think that says a lot. Yeah, whenever it got announced, they showed the cast, and yeah, similar to you, Alex, it's just like, oh, yay, cool.
Right.
That's exciting.
Like the one thing that I'll give it, like the one caveat was like, at this point, when it was announced, I would have said that Bucky Barnes is my favorite current MCU character. So I was like, oh, he's in it. I guess I'll check it out. I wasn't excited, but there was enough with him to be like, well, at least I get to see like a character I enjoy. So,
Mhm.
but everybody else, it was like, oh, the phasing girl from Ant-Man 2, like, I'm going to go to the theater for that. No.
I think some people might have gone just for Florence.
I
The
think
Florence Hive is growing.
yeah, the
Mhm.
Florence Hive is growing, and I think Florence is a huge draw. And spoiler alert, one of the best parts of this movie.
Agreed. Do you want to get into the fun facts
Sure.
/ trivia?
You want to kick off with the Steven Yeun?
Yeah, I can't remember when exactly the news came out, but prior to their pre-production, Stephen Yeun was going to be cast as Sentry / Bob. But I think there was a scheduling conflict, and he was already under contract with another thing. I don't know exactly what it was, but he was going to be Bob.
It was
It's,
the SAG strikes that he
Okay,
was under contract or something, but the SAG strikes that had shut everything down. Just the timing ended up because of that, so he had to end up dropping.
gotcha.
here's a hot take. I'm glad it wasn't him.
Here's a
I
hot
am
take.
too.
Oh, okay, it's not a hot take.
Which is
I
sad
am
because
too.
I love Steven. I love everything he's ever done. Like Walking Dead, Minari, Beef, you name it. I just don't think not that he doesn't have the range, but spoiler alert, I think Lewis was one of the best parts of the film as well. And
Mhm.
he really, to me, did a great job of showing a very interesting range
Well, my other
because of what
problem with
the character requires.
my other problem with Steven was, I mean, like Sentry felt like a little too similar to Invincible. So it'd be like having Invincible play MCU Invincible.
Hmm.
And I didn't like that wouldn't work. I actually, it's funny because I didn't know the Steven Yeun trivia. But when we were watching Thunderbolts, Malik, I actually, when the Thunderbolts were fighting Sentry, I was actually thinking, geez, this is probably how it would be if they all tried to fight Invincible.
They did say the word invincible. I think I counted like 2 or 3 times in the movie, and so I was just like, I wonder if that was like
A little nod.
a little nod to that.
Could have
That'd
been.
been kind of cool.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know, maybe, but I mean, Sentry was basically invincible.
yeah,
Like both. Okay, we need to differentiate because when I'm saying he was basically invincible, he was invincible in the sense that
oh,
the character was invincible, not that he was like Mark the Viltrumite.
yeah. I got
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of words that are
He seemed
this
invulnerable.
we'll say non-destructo instead of.
MCU's
Sure.
invulnerable.
I'd go over him.
All right. Well, what were you guys' initial thoughts and feelings coming out of Thunderbolts? I think we've teased it long enough.
So, one thing that really had caught my eye during the marketing process was when they released was it the second trailer where they highlighted the crew that they had assembled for Thunderbolts, and it was a very heavy A24 movie alumni base. And so I was cautiously optimistic because I feel like Marvel, and I guess to an extension Disney, has done that a lot where they will assemble this like backing crew with all this talent, and they'll be like, no, like we're going to give them all this free reign, and it's going to be, its own thing. Like, the MCU is going in a different direction with these guys under the helm. And then the movie comes out and it's literally like the same exact thing. There's no differentiation or style from any other MCU director who has come before or whoever. And so while I was cautiously optimistic, I was wholly expecting Thunderbolts to be a carbon copy of some MCU movie that came before. Let's say an Earth version of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Hmm.
And that is not what happened, because Thunderbolts felt like a very original and fresh movie. About as original and fresh as you could probably get in the MCU, but it felt unique. It felt different, and it didn't feel like a character of itself. And so I left the theater very impressed.
I echo your sentiment. It's like a breath of fresh air. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. It felt like, I don't know. It was just, it was nice to see this after all the things that have come before it in the last several years. Really, really happy with how it went. I'm not saying it was a perfect movie, but really great step in the right direction.
And I wholeheartedly agree. Since it's like, when did the first Iron Man come out? 2008. So, I mean, similar to you, Tachi, like, I mean, and we used to go to like every single Marvel movie, like the night of the premiere, like pre-Endgame and everything like that. And so the last few years have definitely left me jaded, and I've cared significantly more or less whenever a new project came out, like we touched on with the TV series and everything. And like you said, walking out of this one was like a breath of fresh air. This felt like new and exciting, and I think the movie was really funny, and it hit on a lot of the emotional beats. I think it executed, honestly, like on every level that it meant to. Now, also not saying that it's completely perfect or anything like that, but it was just such a change from this formulaic copy that we've been seeing the last few years. And walking out of the theater, I was pleasantly surprised, because my expectations for this were very low. And I think Alex and I turned to each other in the theater, and we were both just like, fuck, they got us. They got us. They got our asses.
And they unfortunately pulled me back in, because I want to see more. The thing that I thought was my favorite piece of this movie wasn't like the story or anything. It was the fact that the characters, the way they interacted, actually felt like natural and real, and not like some Marvel slop script where it was like, we're going to completely destroy any emotions in this movie because we got a great one-liner to drop. And it sprinkled that in there just enough that it had that like Marvel script feel. But I mean, these characters felt like real people as far as superheroes go. Yeah. I mean, they had their own sorts of emotions. They were fairly, unique in the sense that they had different personalities from each other. They each, while having similar circumstances, didn't feel like copy and pastes. The sort of team up felt very unforced. The way it came together in the movie was very natural.
It felt very organic.
It did. Like it, what are we, some kind of Suicide Squad?
Say that again.
It didn't feel like that.
Say that again. No, I mean, all-star cast, like they were all amazing. I think a big like problem with a lot of these Marvel movies is they'll try to get these emotional moments and these emotional beats and like make us care about these characters, and like you said, they just kind of kill it immediately with just like a quippy one-liner. And while this does have that, all of it felt earned. They gave all of the characters room in the writing to have these emotional moments. And even if someone isn't familiar with, if they haven't seen Black Widow or they haven't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it still gives the audience enough of an idea to get emotionally attached to these characters and feel something for them. And so seeing them go through this whole journey, like I found myself like really caring for these characters. Like there was honestly like a couple parts of the movie where I kind of got choked up, and I was just like, and again I was just like, oh God, they got me again.
I think it was very Elena centric, and that's probably for the best. In terms of, I guess, putting the movie around a really strong emotional theme, and I guess a story that they're trying to tell. Because honestly, Florence Pugh kind of carried. Not to say that, everyone else wasn't pulling their weight. It's just that like the spotlight was on her, and she delivered, I think, in every way.
I don't know about you. I thought Taskmaster carried.
All right, spoilers for Thunderbolts if you haven't seen it. What did you guys think about Taskmaster being killed off 30 minutes into this?
Yeah, it was fine.
I had it spoiled, but I was whelmed. Like,
I-
I mean, I didn't care about the character enough. Like, I had seen Black Widow one day before,
Yeah.
and Taskmaster and Black Widow was like bad guy number 500,000. Like, there was no
Mhm.
anything. I mean, I will say I actually think like the marketing for this movie has been really awful on the topic of the Taskmaster death, because they basically gave away who was going to be the death in the movie.
Everybody knew.
Yeah, everyone-
like after the
everyone
first
Because
trailer.
they were
Yeah.
because Olga, whatever her last name is, I forget her last name, was the only person not cast in Secret Wars and Doomsday. Everyone else in the Thunderbolts was.
Mhm.
Everybody.
Mhm.
So if you pay attention at all to the movie news, you're like,
And even
We'll
just
see
the
what
trailers
happens.
themselves, like Taskmaster maybe made a blip and
Yeah.
made a blip in the in the vault scene that we would see in the previews, but everything else, like we would see them in what turns out to be New York, and everyone's just like, Taskmaster is only in whatever this one scene is, and like nowhere else to be seen.
Like Taskmaster shouldn't have been included in the marketing.
No,
Probably not.
I don't think the Taskmaster hive is big enough to get people to show up.
Yeah, and honestly, it's fine that Taskmaster went out so early because there wasn't enough room for everyone to get the time that they needed. I mean, even Ghost was really underutilized.
yeah, I have that in my notes.
Free my
Not
girl.
that was like a flaw in the movie, but it just shows that like they have to make the decision on like who and what they want to focus on, and it just would have been too much if there were another cast member that we needed to care about.
Also, Taskmaster is such like a non-character character.
Mm-hmm.
They just would have been there for the movie. Like,
Yeah,
there's this guy that doesn't talk, and they just stand there ominously.
I think there is a world where we could have had some better writing around Taskmaster, but I feel from the beginning, like from Black Widow, like the foundations weren't really there, and so it was hard to get audiences to care. But not to say that I mean I definitely do think that there was a world where we could see more of an actual character develop in Taskmaster, because I mean I don't know, I don't really follow the comics, but having someone able to mimic the fighting style of every Avenger that they've ever come across, I think that's pretty cool. But I mean, all that to say, it's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
it was fun.
unfortunately, I think we were closer to that reality than we think, because I saw this floating around on Twitter that in the original Thunderbolt script, there was like a running joke where Taskmaster had amnesia and would, like, since her original assignment was to assassinate John Walker, she would just keep forgetting that they were friends and then she'd keep trying to kill him.
That's actually
And
pretty funny.
that would have been pretty good. I would have been entertained by that. So I mean, they didn't not try with Taskmaster, but clearly the Disney overlords didn't think it was enough to warrant keeping the character around for more than 10 minutes.
How did you guys? What did you guys think of the vault scene?
I liked it a lot.
I thought it was pretty sick.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
Just
I liked the setup of it. It was just another like really natural, like very plausible in that world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here's how we ended up in that situation.
And I think walking into Thunderbolts, my initial thought was that Val was going to be kind of like like an anti Nick Fury. I assumed that she was kind of gathering this team because we see her in a couple of the TV shows, and I think in Black Panther, but we see her in the end of Black Widow recruit Yelena. We see her in Falcon and the Winter Soldier recruit John Walker, and so I kind of thought she was getting this ragtag group together to carry out these like mercenary missions, and we're really gonna get like MCU Suicide Squad. I fully thought that that's where we were going, which is why my expectations were so low. So I think it was a really nice surprise, and I loved seeing the vault scene play out in something that that I didn't expect to see how this group got together.
I was kind of hoping for some Cadmus vibes from DC's universe. You guys see Justice League Unlimited?
No.
The TV show, the cartoon?
I don't know it like that.
Really great watch, but like Cadmus is this sort of like shadow arm of the government tasked with fighting superheroes. And I kind of thought that's the angle they were going to go with the Thunderbolts, and I thought Valentino was going to be like a government asset, but I liked what we got. I did like what we got.
Yeah. Who are some of your guys' favorite performances in this? We talked about Florence a little bit, but anything that kind of stands out to you?
Wyatt
Lewis
Russell.
Pullman.
Oh, him too. Those are my top three.
Who did you say, Tachi?
Wyatt Russell.
I really like John Walker as a character.
He's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Wyatt Russell, I think, just pulls off this really, like, maybe not jaded, but like, I guess, bitter and troubled man who, in the grand scheme of things, really wants to do well and wants to do right by himself, wants to do right by his country, and just do good in terms of morality.
Mm-hmm.
But he just struggles with his ingrained issues. Wyatt Russell just finds a way to make you really want to root for him to, I guess, accomplish what he wants to do, which is just like be a great soldier. And
Tachi, you are allowed to say that John Walker did nothing wrong.
I mean, he did kill a man in cold blood, so I can't say that he didn't do anything wrong.
Did he?
I mean, he like smashed a guy's chest in with a vibranium shield repeatedly until he died.
I don't think Marvel did a good job of portraying that as an unjust killing. That's my hot take.
I agree.
There are ways to deliver justice. There are people who deserve certain fates. I think in that moment, maybe that guy didn't have to die.
I'll concede that. He could have died later.
Okay, sure.
Taking him around the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think John Walker's a super interesting character. I would say, yeah, we touched on it a little bit earlier. I think one of my main gripes with this movie is just the lack of character from Ghost. I would love to like hear more about her and get more of a backstory with her. I mean, we got it a little bit in Ant-Man and the Wasp. We kind of see how she came to have these powers, but I think there could have been so much more. But on the flip side of that, yeah, seeing John Walker's kind of emotional progression through this, I think is super interesting. Obviously, getting what we get with Yelena, Florence Pugh delivers that excellently, and real big fan of Lewis Pullman as Sentry.
He was the best surprise of the movie by far.
I love that Lewis Pullman's two like breakout roles so far were like awkward white dudes named Bob.
He was named Bob in Top Gun, huh?
He was Bob in Top Gun.
That's awesome.
The best movie I've ever seen from him, though, and this is a complete divergent from the Marvel topic. But if anyone is out there wanting a recommendation for something Lewis Pullman was in, go track down The Starling Girl. It was a movie that had a very tiny release, got no buzz about anything. And I watched it on a plane. It just seemed like a perfect airplane movie, and I thought it was fantastic. He plays this like preacher in this real small Appalachian town. And the movie's about an affair he has with a local girl. And Lord Huron does the soundtrack, and that movie is really, really good.
Consider my interest piqued.
But
sounds cool.
Lewis Pullman, he's awesome in it. That was my first introduction with him. I was one of my underrated gems from 2023. So you guys should check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Any other praises that you guys want to sing for this film?
I think like the Void character design was so cool.
It was so sick.
Void was sick.
Oh my god. And knowing, I think the approach they took with it, and I saw a clip of an interview talking about the inspiration behind kind of how they went about what the void would do and seeing the shadows and how they got a lot of that inspiration from Hiroshima and the shadows.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah,
That was such a brutal inspo.
that's
It's
it.
really
That's
ominous.
yeah, really ominous. But I think it worked really well.
I agree.
One of my this sounds messed up. I don't want to say favorite moment, but one of my most like shocking moments in the theater.
You shouldn't say what it is, because anyone listening who hasn't seen it should be surprised.
Stop listening if you haven't seen it. Wait, I don't want to say it. You okay? Do you guys know which part I'm talking about?
I know exactly which part you're talking about because it's the part that we looked at each other at.
Tachi?
I'm not sure that I know.
Okay, they're in New York, and people are getting voided for the first time.
Gotcha. Yep, that was crazy.
I think everyone in the theater went like.
I think my jaw dropped. Yeah.
It was
I
probably,
was shook.
I think, the most jarring MCU moment ever.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's up
for
there.
sure.
I don't know what else could beat it.
I mean, the snap is.
Yeah, but the snap, we had been expecting the snap for like 6 movies. And then when it happened, it was like very drawn out. And, you know, you cut and I feel like the snap, at least for me, while that moment did kind of quiet the theater, it wasn't wholly unexpected. This specific scene in Thunderbolts, we'll call it Scene X, just came out of left field.
Okay, I agree. Yeah,
That's
because
fair.
the snap was very emotional and kind of like it felt like I wanted to reach into the screen and help, and I couldn't do anything. This was just like, oh,
like what can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. That's a good point.
It was MCU's grenade scene from Warfare.
Yeah.
Fair.
Any low points or negatives that you guys want to bring up?
I'll echo the lack of Ghost, because I think she is probably the most unique character on the team. She's got the coolest powers. She's the only one that's not just like a random super soldier.
Yeah, her ability is so cool.
Yeah.
And you could totally do a lot with, I lived in a box growing up because if I left said box, my body would get ripped apart by atomic energy or whatever the explanation was. I think it was Pym particles, right? Was the explanation.
Yeah, you can do a lot with that.
And she was really good in Black Mirror too. So she's a pretty good actress. And I want MCU to kind of let her roll with it a little more.
Ghost Hive Rise.
Yeah, the way that they
All one of
showcased her
us.
in the vault was really, really cool.
Any negatives from you, Tachi?
Nothing really jumps to mind. I don't know. I think I might have to think about it more.
I was gonna say I think the first hour of this movie is excellent. Like I think it's got a tight script, and I think it flies by like it doesn't. I wasn't bored at any point, but so I think the first hour of this movie is really, really good. I do think it loses some steam in the last 45 minutes or so, because for the first hour being with these characters, it felt very earned, and I think like the passage of time just felt kind of real. And then in the last hour, everything kind of just felt rushed, which I mean, I understand like why it had to be that way. Like it's only a 2-hour movie, but I would say I think it gets a little bit clunky towards the end of it, just with the progression we see with Bob and Val to becoming Sentry and him making this decision that he's going to be with her. And then but other than that, like
that's fair. And
it doesn't hurt the movie too much in my eyes. But if I had to pick a couple of the things, it'd be the character of Ghost, and then it just gets a little bit sloppy. But I mean, overall, breath of fresh air here.
For sure. I was going to say maybe they could have chopped out a little bit of like the emotional beats when they're going through those emotional journeys toward like really building up to the climax. But yeah, I agree. There's nothing like really monumental that detracts from the movie experience.
Mm-hmm. I do want to say though, one of my favorite scenes is in the beginning. Also, big fan that Florence Pugh did the stunt off of the building herself. I don't know if you guys saw any of the behind the scenes, and
Yeah,
I
sick.
think she did that because of the backlash of how bad the explosion in Black Widow looked. If you guys remember towards the end of the movie,
Yeah.
it's just like
So bad.
so bad. And
Mhm.
so I think I feel like that just like stuck in her head, and she's like, I got to do this. So she pulled the Tom Cruise and did that herself. So I think that was awesome.
really
But
badass.
quickly following that scene, she's going through all of these people in a hallway. We have an aerial shot of her fighting through the
goons.
hallway, kind of along Warner, and seeing the shadows, the way the light is hitting, and seeing the shadows kind of reflect what we're going to see in the future with the void. I thought that was awesome. Like, I thought that was so sick. I loved the use of light in that one. This movie had the same cinematographer of Green Knight. Wasn't as great as the Green Knight. No, I don't think the movie was like gorgeously shot or anything like that, but it was decent.
It was fresh for a Marvel movie.
It was fresh for a
Agreed.
Marvel movie, but I did want to
Agreed.
shout out that scene. I thought that scene was very well executed and really interesting how they shot it and what they did with the light. And I wish we got a little bit more of that. But yeah,
Yeah,
big
it
kudos
was
to
nice
that.
that they used a lot more practical sets, as opposed to like Ant-Man 3. I know they're in the quantum realm, but come on. You don't have to blue screen every scene.
Yeah,
Please.
had Quantumania looking like Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah.
Also, them saving civilians. We're back.
That
We're
that
saving
one lady
people.
that was like crawling on the ground, she really put her whole life into that 2-second scream.
I mean, if you were cast as an extra in MCU that was going to get screen time, you'd probably be.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
if that was
Ham.
me, if that was me
Yeah.
on the floor, I'd be screaming. I'd be,
I would
"Who's
take like
screaming?"
5 scoops of pre-workout just to get beyond amped.
I'd go try and fight Lewis Pullman. Hey, man, we're really happy you could come out as an extra. Start throwing fists.
So since the void kind of engulfed New York, who are other MCU heroes that are living in New York? And do we think that they kind of got their own trauma room while this was all happening? I'm thinking
Peter.
like, yeah, Spider-Man, Daredevil. What did they see?
I mean, Spidey's just got to see Marisa Tomei getting nuked.
Oh my god. Nuke is crazy.
Nuked.
But valid.
Isn't that what happened? Did she get blown up by Green Goblin?
She did
in,
get nuked.
No Way Home. Yeah, I mean,
I thought it was crushed
she'd
by
be
rubble,
dead.
but
She'd be nuked.
I think
Same
it was a
thing,
combination of all of it. She got nuked.
Yeah.
And so
And then the
Fair enough.
radiation killed her.
Who else is over there? Doctor Strange. I wonder what Doctor Strange saw.
I don't know. He's just hanging out with his third eye somewhere.
Yeah, he's just chilling. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
We don't know.
Yeah,
Wong
what was he doing there during all this? He could have just, like,
could have banished Bob
Yeah.
to somewhere.
That's the question I think with every superhero movie. Like if you
Yeah.
said in New York, it's like, what is Spider-Man doing right now? Where is Daredevil?
Working it.
Aren't we in his neighborhood? He lives right there.
He's just at a courthouse,
Yeah.
just doing his job.
Sorry, these aren't billable hours.
Who let's go to our favorite Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts? Favorite new Avengers?
Oh.
Say that again?
I think I really like John Walker. He's so compelling. He might be my favorite.
I like that
Top
answer.
3 for me: Bucky, Ghost, and John Walker.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about Bucky at all.
Oh my god, Bucky.
How have we not talked about Bucky?
Sorry, Bucky. His Terminator scene, so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that was just peak.
That
I
was-
loved it on the Harley.
Yeah.
I was sick. I was having a blast.
That was just testosterone fueled badass. That's great.
I
the
went to the
most-
gym when I got home after watching that.
The most
Just
unbelievable
pumping iron in
thing.
the garage.
The most unbelievable thing about this movie is Bucky becoming a congressman.
Oh, I thought that was hilarious.
It's really funny, but to think that didn't he like canonically kill JFK?
Yes,
Yes.
he did.
Absolutely.
Get him in the White House now.
Just think, like, somewhere in that universe, some like Fox News grandpa's like, I just like what this Bucky Barnes has to say, and then their exasperated college granddaughters like, he killed JFK. Like,
And they'd be valid in feeling that. Yeah, top three. I don't know. I can't. I really like everybody in this. I don't know if I could do a top three. Like, I think Red Guardian was really funny in this. I thought he was really good. Elena's awesome. Ghost is awesome. Love John Walker.
Yeah, there's no Thunderbolt I don't like.
Taskmaster.
Not
They
even a
don't
Thunderbolt.
count.
It's hard to include Bob because he's so different from them. But he is part of the group, so.
But the movie didn't even really count him as part of it. Do they? Or is it just because he's Bob, and if when he's Sentry, he's a Thunderbolt? But when he's not, he's just and Bob.
I don't know, but I did love the scene when there was that announcement at the end, and he's like kind of off to the side of the frame, just like clapping, so unaware that he's part of this. That was great.
He's just a boy.
He was vibing in the post-credit scene too.
He really was. Do we want to move on to our ratings, or do you guys have anything else to say?
I'm ready to rate.
You're ready to rate?
I'm ready. Yep.
All right.
Out of 10?
Oh, out of 10. Yes, out of 10. Alex, you go first.
I'll start with an 8 out of 10.
Wow.
I liked it. I just, the vibes were good.
I'm really happy that you liked it.
I liked it a lot.
It's not even my project, and it fills me with joy. I will go with 8.5.
Solid.
Mm-hmm. And now you.
And I will go with 8 out of 10.
All right.
So what is that? An 8.25 is the official Lost in the Frame rating. We need to start putting these on Letterboxd. The soundboard's still not working today.
Oh, dang it. I just clicked the damn, son.
Damn, son. Where'd you find this?
Yeah, this movie was solid. Great cast all around. Emotional. Like I said, there's honestly like a couple moments that I got a little choked up, but really like blew me out of the water. Like my expectations were low for this. I was like, we'll see. We will see. Like, I still haven't seen the newest Captain America movie. And that will be the first time probably since 2008 that I didn't see a Marvel movie in theaters.
That's crazy because it's not even the worst one that's come out.
I know, but I just didn't like. There's been no urgency for me to watch these.
That's fair.
You saw the Marvels?
I saw the Marvels
in theaters.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember it was a movie.
It was unfortunately very forgettable.
Speaking of the Marvels, who would win in a fight? The Sentry or Captain Marvel?
From what I can tell, it seems like Sentry is like Marvel's Superman because he is so fast. It's almost like he can teleport. He can use telekinesis, super strong, can fly. What am I missing? Super strength. He has like
he has
a
an
force
S on
field.
his chest. He has an S on his chest.
And he's handsome.
And he's blonde. Do we count Void as part of Sentry?
We'll just say Sentry. I think Sentry takes it.
But it's kind of hard to gauge the power scaling because the last time we saw Captain Marvel as a relevant character, she was taking on a really powerful Thanos. So
that's true.
Wouldn't the last time we saw her as a character be the Marvels?
Oh.
Well, relevant.
Oh.
Because no one really cares about the Marvels. And it doesn't seem to have a major tie-in to the rest of the universe.
Now,
dude, speaking of the Marvels and how irrelevant it is, poor Iman Vellani, because she's trying so hard.
Yeah.
She's
so
gotten
likable.
such a raw deal.
She's very likable.
I think she is so fantastic.
Sweet.
But
yeah.
the writing sucks. And her show sucked. And her movie sucked. And it just sucks for her.
I'm rooting for her.
Hopefully they'll turn it around.
Yeah.
It's like watching the best person you knew in high school just getting an absolute raw deal in life.
So that is the end of Phase 5. Where does this sit in Phase 5 movies for you guys? So to recap, we've had Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America Brave New World, and now Thunderbolts.
It sits up there at the top for me.
What would your ranking of Phase 5 movies be?
I would probably have to rewatch Guardians 3, but as of now, they're basically tied for first. I really loved Guardians 3. So Guardians 3 / Thunderbolts, then Deadpool, then Captain America. I guess Ant-Man 3, just because I love Paul Rudd, and then the Marvels.
For me, I would say Thunderbolts is my favorite phase 5. Then I would say Guardians 3. And then for the next one, I would say I didn't watch any of the rest.
Fair. Yeah, I think I would put Thunderbolts first. I also would need to rewatch Guardians 3. I haven't seen it since it first came out, so for now I'll just go Thunderbolts first, Guardians. I haven't seen Captain America, but I feel like it'll be third. I'm gonna put Captain America there, Deadpool and Wolverine, the Marvels, and then Quantumania. Quantumania way down at the bottom.
Quantumania is actually, I think, the only Marvel movie that has left a sour taste in my mouth.
That movie did piss me off.
It actually, no. There's one in Phase 4 that really pissed me off, but we'll get there.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder I think pissed me off more than Quantumania.
Yeah.
To be fair.
The hopes were much higher for that.
Yeah. So since we're out of Phase 5, moving on to Phase 6, we've got Fantastic Four coming up. What are you guys thinking about the future of Marvel after Thunderbolts? Are you still jaded? Are you excited? Talk to me about it.
I wouldn't say I'm excited, but I'm not jaded. The door is open. The door is open for me to become a fan again.
Okay. I was going to say, what is the door opening to? That's good. I'm glad you're not jaded.
A nuke. I am excited for Fantastic Four, knowing that the Thunderbolts are going to be in Doomsday and Secret Wars. Honestly, for Doomsday and like most things past Fantastic Four, like my excitement level is maybe like a 3.
But we also know like nothing.
I don't see a world where we have hundreds of characters in a 2.5-hour movie and it kind of giving me the same feeling that Thunderbolts did. Like this is a very grounded film, and we've got, like we said, a lot of those emotional beats that hit very well. And so it just makes me kind of worried seeing like where we're going to see the progression of these characters go, because there's not going to be much progression when you have a cast of hundreds of other superheroes getting nostalgia baited and
glup shittoed.
We're getting like it just like it's Avengers glup shitto. Yeah, that is the major drawback to them consolidating their content into just a handful of movies, because we're really likely not going to see a lot of these characters outside of Avengers movies, maybe ever.
You know what sucks?
What?
A lot of people have been saying that, at least for Disney Star Wars, that the farther they've gotten away from the Force, the better the content is. And so like Andor and Rogue One. And I think MCU needs an Andor, and I think Thunderbolts could be it. And I don't think they're actually going to let it be it. I think they're going to shove them right back with insane superpowers, and they're going to get completely sideshowed by whatever amalgamation of heroes is in Secret Wars and Doomsday.
Yeah, the power scaling is going to be really an interesting challenge for them to tackle, because what are they? I mean, what's Red Guardian going to do against Doctor Doom?
Drive a limo into him.
It's going to be interesting, but I'm hopeful. I still think they're going to do well. I'm still containing my excitement, but it's going to be tricky. It's going to be really, really tricky.
Tricky. I mean, it will be.
I don't know. I guess like if, oh my gosh, what's her name? Yelena's sister that died.
Oh,
ScarJo.
Yeah, if I forgot her character name, but if she can help take down Thanos, then,
Natasha.
I mean,
Oh my god.
yeah,
I
Natasha.
forgot too.
Jesus,
Oh man.
what is wrong with us? If she can contribute to taking down Thanos, like they'll find a way to make them relevant
Did she?
and contribute.
She didn't. She died.
Yeah, her death was part of that.
So just kill him.
Yeah, Malik, it was a sacrifice.
Okay. All right. Just gang up on me. I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll have to stay tuned to see what the MCU is cooking. Unfortunately I do think that this might be we're gonna look back on Thunderbolts as a shining moment, as just like a speckle of gold dust amongst a pile of not. That's my thought. That's my thought right now. But obviously, I'm happy to be proven wrong. I was proven wrong with Thunderbolts. I had a great time with it. So only the future will tell.
I agree. I never go into a movie wanting to hate it.
Same.
Even Act of Valor.
I gave
I
Act
tried.
of Valor a chance. I was just like, let's see what we got.
Watching Act of Valor was an act of valor.
We should get
Agreed.
congressional medals for this.
Thank you for your service.
Exactly.
No, I agree. I mean, I think Thunderbolts will function as a standalone film that even if MCU kind of drops the layup here, we can still go back and be like, that was a good movie.
We'll be able to
I had a
look.
good time with that
For
one.
sure.
Yeah, we'll look at it fondly. The new Avengers. Before we close it out, how do you guys feel about the title switch to the new Avengers?
Give it more than opening weekend, dude.
Give it more.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't know why they rushed that. That's crazy.
3 days.
The theory I heard is that it had to do with them wanting people to see it in IMAX, and they're losing their IMAX screens in like 7 days because Final Destination Bloodlines is going to go in there next. And so I think they were trying to push people to go see it in IMAX. Although I did see today that the you know how they had the big poster on the side of the building in LA,
Yeah.
and they changed it to the new Avengers.
Yeah.
They changed it today to now, or maybe not today, like recently, to where Stitch from live action Lilo and Stitch burst through. So I mean, Disney is just speed running a marketing campaign for everything.
Yeah,
I just wish they would let it breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, that got spoiled for me like Monday morning. I was like, oh,
It's really, really unfortunate.
I was like, oh, cool. But I feel like there's still so much left to say, like for this movie that we didn't cover.
Yeah, we really didn't even cover Bob's backstory, but
I love that the powerful God character is a meth head.
oh my god,
the meth head chicken scene.
I was really surprised they included that.
Yeah,
I was too.
They said the word meth in an MCU movie.
Right?
And they said like brought it. They kept bringing it back up. It's like, oh yeah, I was really high on meth like when this was happening. Like, God, to be on meth in a chicken suit,
That's the life.
that's the
the
American
life.
dream.
Yeah, go watch Thunderbolts. Go watch the new Avengers.
Go do meth in a chicken suit.
Go do meth in a chicken suit. That's. I think only positive things could probably come from that. Clearly.
You too could become God.
All right. Well, do you guys have any final thoughts you want to say before we sign off for the night?
No, I think we covered it. Yeah.
All right.
Brilliant.
Well, we gave this movie an 8.25 out of 10 for.
We really need to start uploading these ratings to Letterboxd.
We do. Yeah, we can. We'll start it tonight.
Probably not.
Probably
Maybe
not.
tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow. I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll see. But thank you so much for listening.
Lost in the Frame will return.
And Bob.
And Bob will return.
Tune in next time.
All right. Thank you guys for listening.
Have
Thanks,
a
guys.
good one, everybody.